In the summer of 1462, the Ottoman army marched towards Wallachia, their sights set on the fierce ruler, Vlad the Impaler. As they advanced, they stumbled upon a gruesome spectacle that would haunt their dreams. The sight of the forest of the Impaled was both shocking and horrifying. Thousands of bodies, displayed as a brutal warning, revealed Vlad's chilling strategy to instill terror in his enemies. Vlad's method was not merely sadistic. It was a calculated tactic designed to break the spirit of the Ottoman forces. Fear became his most potent weapon. As the Ottomans surveyed the scene, they realized that Vlad had turned the act of killing into a psychological weapon. His enemies would think twice before advancing. Vlad's reign was marked by brutality, but it was his strategic use of fear that defined his legacy. He understood that terror could paralyze even the mightiest of armies. The forest served as a grim reminder of the consequences of defiance. Those who opposed Vlad were met with a fate worse than death, their bodies left to rot as a lesson. News of the forest spread quickly, instilling fear across the land. Villagers whispered tales of Vlad's cruelty, ensuring his reputation as a ruthless ruler grew. In the minds of his enemies, Vlad transformed from a mere ruler into a figure of nightmare. The forest of the Impaled became a symbol of his unyielding power. Ultimately, Vlad's strategy of terror was a double-edged sword. While it secured his throne, it also sowed the seeds of his own downfall, leading to a legacy steeped in fear. As a young boy, Vlad was taken from his family and thrust into the heart of the Ottoman Empire, a land both foreign and terrifying. Surrounded by towering minarets and bustling bazaars, he learned quickly that survival depended on understanding the intricate dance of power and fear. In the palace, lavish feasts contrasted sharply with the constant threat of violence. Vlad witnessed the brutal punishments meted out to those who defied the Sultan, etching lessons of control and intimidation deep into his psyche. Vlad's captors, aware of his noble lineage, used him as a pawn in their political games. He was treated with a mixture of respect and disdain, a reminder of his family's power, yet a constant target for humiliation. Amidst the opulence, Vlad found solace in the shadows. He observed the interactions of the powerful, absorbing their tactics. Each whispered conversation and every display of cruelty shaped his understanding of dominance. The fear of betrayal loomed large in the palace. Vlad learned that trust was a luxury few could afford, and he began to cultivate a cold detachment, a survival mechanism in a world rife with treachery. As he grew older, the lessons of his captivity became clearer. The psychological scars of his childhood shaped his worldview, instilling in him a desire for power that would later define his reign. Vlad's childhood was marked by an unending cycle of fear and humiliation, yet it was also a crucible of resilience. He learned to wield fear as a weapon, understanding its power to control and manipulate. The Ottoman Empire, with its grand ambitions, was a constant reminder of what he had lost. Vlad's longing for his homeland fueled a burning desire for revenge, setting the stage for his future actions. In the depths of his captivity, Vlad transformed from a frightened boy into a calculating man, ready to reclaim his birthright. The lessons learned in the palace would soon manifest in the brutal tactics of his future reign. Upon returning to Wallachia, Vlad found his realm fractured by betrayal. The boyars, once his allies, had conspired against him, igniting a thirst for vengeance that would shape his future. Haunted by the memories of his childhood, Vlad's heart hardened. The trauma of his past, marked by violence and treachery, became the foundation for his brutal methods of rule. Vlad's first act of retribution was swift and merciless. He summoned the boyars to a grand feast, masking his intentions behind a veneer of hospitality. As the boyars indulged in food and drink, Vlad's forces quietly prepared outside, ready to execute his chilling plan. Trust would soon turn to horror. The feast turned into a nightmare as Vlad revealed his true intentions. The boyars, caught off guard, faced the consequences of their betrayal in a gruesome display. In a calculated act of terror, Vlad ordered the execution of the boyars, impaling them as a stark warning to others who might defy him. This brutal display of power solidified Vlad's reputation as a ruthless leader. His reign would be marked by fear, a calculated strategy to maintain control. Vlad's methods became infamous, transforming him into a figure of terror. His name would echo through history, synonymous with brutality and vengeance. The legacy of Vlad the Impaler was born from trauma, refined into method. His story serves as a chilling reminder of how power can corrupt and consume. In the shadowy depths of the forest, Vlad the Impaler crafted a chilling strategy, using terror as a tool to communicate his power. His method of choice, impalement, became a gruesome signature, a message to all who dared oppose him. Each victim, a testament to his ruthlessness, was displayed prominently, ensuring that fear spread like wildfire across the land. The sight of the impaled was not merely for shock, it was a calculated act of psychological warfare. Villagers and travelers alike were forced to confront the stark reality of Vlad's cruelty. Each spike, each tortured body served as a grim reminder of the consequences of defiance, a warning that echoed through the valleys and hills of Wallachia. Vlad's cruelty extended beyond the act of impalement. He would often nail turbans to the heads of his enemies, a grotesque trophy that spoke volumes about his disdain for those who threatened his rule. This brutal display was meant to humiliate and instill fear, transforming the landscape into a canvas of terror. The message was clear: resistance would not be tolerated. As news of these atrocities spread, fear gripped the hearts of nobles and peasants alike. The impaled became symbols of Vlad's unyielding authority, and tales of his brutality traveled far beyond the borders of Wallachia, becoming the stuff of legend. In this environment of terror, loyalty was bought with blood. Those who pledged allegiance to Vlad did so not out of admiration, but from a primal instinct for survival. The forest, once a place of refuge, morphed into a haunting reminder of the price of defiance, a dark chapter in the history of the region. The psychological impact of these displays was profound. As families passed through the forest, they would tell their children of the horrors lurking within, ensuring that the tales of Vlad's cruelty were etched into the collective memory. This oral tradition solidified his reign through fear, transforming him into a figure of both dread and fascination. Vlad's reign was marked by a relentless pursuit of control, and the forest served as both a backdrop and a participant in his brutal narrative. The impalements were not just acts of violence, they were a deliberate strategy to communicate his dominance and to cultivate a legacy steeped in terror. As the years passed, the forest became synonymous with Vlad's name, a living testament to his reign of terror. The stories of the impaled circulated through taverns and courts, shaping the perception of a ruler who wielded cruelty as a weapon. In this way, the forest became a character in its own right, forever marked by the bloodshed it witnessed. Ultimately, the legacy of Vlad the Impaler is one of fear and fascination. His use of cruelty as communication not only secured his power but also left an indelible mark on history. The forest of the impaled remains a haunting reminder of the lengths to which a ruler will go to instill fear and maintain control over his domain. As the sun dipped below the horizon, whispers of impending doom spread through the villages of Wallachia. The air grew thick with tension as the shadow of Sultan Mehmed II loomed ever larger. His empire, vast and relentless, was preparing for war, and the people sensed the storm approaching. They gathered in hushed groups, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty, knowing that their fate rested in the hands of a powerful adversary. Vlad the Impaler, aware of the Sultan's ambitions, fortified his defenses with grim determination. He ordered the construction of wooden palisades and sharpened stakes, transforming the landscape into a fortress. Each day, the sounds of hammers and saws echoed through the valley, a stark reminder of the conflict that loomed. The stakes would not only serve as barriers, but as symbols of his ruthless strategy to instill terror in the hearts of his enemies. In the heart of the castle, Vlad strategized with his advisors, their faces illuminated by flickering torches. Maps of the region sprawled across the table, marked with enemy movements and potential battle sites. The atmosphere was charged with urgency as they discussed scorched earth tactics, knowing that retreating meant leaving nothing for the advancing army. Each decision weighed heavily as the specter of defeat loomed large over their heads. As the first raids began, the countryside erupted in chaos. Ottoman soldiers, fierce and relentless, swept through villages, pillaging and burning. The once peaceful fields turned to ash, smoke rising into the sky as families fled in terror. The brutality of the invasion was a stark reminder of the Sultan's resolve and the lengths he would go to expand his empire. The psychological impact of these raids rippled through Wallachia, tightening the grip of fear. With each passing day, the psychological toll on the populace grew. Rumors of Vlad's cruelty spread like wildfire, tales of impaled enemies serving as grim warnings. The forest of the Impaled became a haunting symbol of his reign, instilling dread in both friend and foe. As the villagers looked upon the gruesome displays, they grappled with their loyalty to a leader whose methods were as terrifying as the enemy they faced. Meanwhile, Sultan Mehmed II prepared his forces for a decisive blow. His army, a formidable force of thousands, gathered at the borders, ready to march into Wallachia. The Sultan, with his grand ambitions, envisioned a swift victory that would secure his legacy. The tension in the air was palpable as both sides braced for the inevitable clash, each side believing they were the rightful victors in this struggle for power. As the Ottoman forces advanced, Vlad unleashed his final strategy of terror. He ordered the burning of crops and the poisoning of wells, leaving nothing but desolation in the wake of the enemy's approach. The land, once fertile, now lay barren, a testament to his scorched earth policy. This ruthless tactic aimed to starve the invaders and break their will, while simultaneously sending a chilling message about the lengths he would go to protect his realm. As the two forces prepared to meet, the people of Wallachia stood at a crossroads, caught between the terror of their ruler and the impending invasion. Families gathered in their homes, praying for deliverance, while others took up arms, driven by a fierce desire to defend their land. The impending battle would not only determine the fate of Wallachia, but would also echo through history as a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. As dawn broke on the day of reckoning, the sound of clashing swords and the cries of warriors filled the air. The fate of Wallachia hung in the balance as Vlad the Impaler faced the might of the Ottoman Empire. In this dark chapter of history, the strategies of terror and the human stories of courage and despair intertwined, setting the stage for a battle that would leave an indelible mark on the annals of time. Under the cloak of night, Vlad the Impaler's forces crept silently through the dense forest, their breath mingling with the cold air. Shadows danced among the trees, as soldiers clad in dark leather moved with purpose, their faces obscured by hoods. Each step was deliberate, every whisper hushed, as they approached the unsuspecting camp of Sultan Mehmed II, unaware of the storm that was about to descend upon them. The camp of Mehmed lay before them, a flickering sea of torches illuminating tents and the silhouettes of guards. The air was thick with the scent of smoke and the distant sounds of laughter. But for Vlad's men, this was not a moment of hesitation. It was an opportunity to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies, to turn the night into a weapon. As the soldiers approached, they could hear the rhythmic beating of drums and the clinking of armor. The sounds of camaraderie filled the air, but they masked the impending dread. Vlad's men, trained for this very moment, prepared to unleash chaos, knowing that psychological terror could be as devastating as any blade. With a sudden coordinated rush, Vlad's forces surged into the camp, their battle cries piercing the night. The unsuspecting soldiers of Mehmed were caught off guard, their faces shifting from confusion to terror as they scrambled to defend themselves. The element of surprise became a weapon of its own, sowing panic among the ranks. In the chaos, the darkness became a shroud for Vlad's men, allowing them to strike swiftly and disappear just as quickly. The flickering torchlight cast eerie shadows, turning comrades into phantoms, heightening the sense of dread. Each fallen soldier added to the psychological warfare, as whispers of ghosts haunted the survivors. The cries of the wounded echoed into the night, a haunting symphony that would linger in the memories of those who survived. As the attackers retreated, the camp lay in disarray, a testament to the terror that had unfolded. Vlad's strategy was not merely to defeat, it was to instill fear that would echo long after the battle was over. In the days that followed, stories of the night attack spread like wildfire. The soldiers of Mehmed spoke of ghosts in the darkness, of shadows that moved with purpose. The fear of Vlad the Impaler transformed from mere tales into a palpable dread, affecting morale and sowing distrust among the ranks. Vlad's strategy was clear: to create an aura of invincibility around his name. With each successful raid, he tightened his grip on the hearts of his enemies. The psychological impact of his tactics became a weapon as powerful as any sword, ensuring that the very mention of his name would inspire fear. The night attack was not just a military maneuver, it was a masterclass in psychological warfare. Vlad the Impaler understood that true power lay not only in physical domination, but in the ability to instill fear that would echo through the ages. As the darkness enveloped the land, so too did the legends of his terror. In the heart of Wallachia, Vlad the Impaler devised a chilling strategy to instill fear. His enemies would soon learn that the forest, once a sanctuary, would become a graveyard of terror, filled with the gruesome remnants of his wrath. As the Ottoman forces advanced, Vlad ordered the construction of a macabre display. Thousands of captured soldiers and traitors were impaled, their bodies arranged in grotesque patterns, creating a horrifying tableau that would haunt the minds of his foes. Vlad's strategy was not merely for punishment, it was a calculated act of psychological warfare. The sight of the forest of the Impaled was designed to terrify and demoralize the Ottoman troops, turning their advance into a retreat. News of the forest spread like wildfire. Tales of Vlad's brutality reached far and wide, transforming him into a figure of dread. His reputation as a ruthless ruler became a weapon, striking fear into the hearts of those who dared oppose him. The gruesome display served its purpose. The Ottoman forces, once confident in their numbers, hesitated at the sight of the forest. The psychological impact of Vlad's strategy was profound, causing chaos within their ranks. Vlad's use of terror was a calculated gamble. He understood that the fear of the unknown could be more powerful than the sword. The forest became a symbol of his reign, a dark reminder of the consequences of betrayal. Yet, the strategy of terror was not without its consequences. While it secured his immediate power, it also sowed seeds of hatred that would follow him through history, painting him as a monster rather than a hero. The forest of the Impaled stands as a testament to the lengths one man would go to secure his legacy. In the annals of history, it serves as a chilling reminder of how horror can be wielded as a weapon. In the wake of Vlad the Impaler's death, the land he ruled fell into chaos. His enemies celebrated, while his supporters mourned the loss of a leader who had instilled both fear and loyalty. The once terrifying figure became a ghost in the minds of his people, as stories of his brutal reign began to morph into legends of a dark hero. The forest that bore witness to his terror stood silent, cloaked in mist. Vlad's body was never found, fueling rumors and speculation. Some claimed he was buried in secret, while others believed he had transformed into a vampire, haunting the very lands he once ruled. This ambiguity added to his legacy, intertwining historical fact with folklore. As tales spread across Europe, the line between man and monster blurred, creating a figure both feared and revered. The aftermath of his reign left a fractured legacy. In Wallachia, some viewed Vlad as a tyrant, while others saw him as a protector against foreign invaders. This duality created a complex narrative that would echo through generations. His methods, though brutal, were often justified as necessary for survival in a tumultuous era, raising questions about the nature of power and its consequences. As the years passed, Vlad's story evolved into a mythic tale. Writers and storytellers embellished his life, painting him as a vampire lord in works that captivated audiences. The figure of Dracula emerged, transcending borders and cultures, transforming Vlad's legacy into something that would haunt the imagination of countless generations. His life became a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked power and the thirst for revenge. The impact of Vlad's reign extended beyond his lifetime, influencing rulers and military leaders who sought to instill fear in their enemies. His strategies of terror became a template for future generations, illustrating the dark allure of power gained through brutality. The legacy of fear he crafted served as both a warning and a guide, shaping the political landscape of Eastern Europe for centuries. In modern times, Vlad the Impaler remains a figure of fascination. Historians and filmmakers alike have sought to understand the man behind the legend, exploring the complexities of his character. Was he a monster or a misunderstood ruler? The debate continues as new interpretations emerge, each adding layers to a legacy steeped in darkness and intrigue, reflecting humanity's enduring fascination with power and its consequences. The forest that once served as a backdrop for Vlad's reign now stands as a testament to the duality of his legacy. It is a place where history and myth intertwine, where the echoes of his terror still resonate. As nature reclaims the land, the stories of his life and death continue to captivate, inviting reflection on the darker aspects of human nature and the impact of fear on society. Ultimately, Vlad the Impaler's life serves as a reminder of the thin line between heroism and monstrosity. His legacy, marked by bloodshed and fear, compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about power, morality, and the human condition. As we explore the stories of those who lived in his shadow, we are left to ponder how terror can consume not only its victims, but also its creator.